students. My name is Stacey Campo, and I will be your guest speaker for Module 6, Teaching and Learning in the Virtual Community. I've created a little presentation to help us set the stage to frame our time together. I hope you find this a valuable experience, and I look forward to hearing your feedback. Okay, let's travel on.
So to help you get a frame of reference who I am, I put together a little presentation here about me. I am a Midwest kid. I graduated from high school in Columbus, Nebraska. Then I traveled west and got my teaching credential at the University of Idaho. Then off to Hawaii I went for a couple years to teach, and I returned to San Diego where I finished up my master's in Ed Tech at National University, and I finished the first level of my admin credential at our favorite place, Cal State San Marcos. All of these credentials and experiences enabled me to focus in on what my passion really is, my work. I work for Poway Unified School District, and I have been a high school teacher, an adult ed teacher, and I currently serve in the position of a digital literacy specialist for about the last 19 years, actually. I focus predominantly on staff development. I'm also an adjunct professor at Cal State, and I teach in the undergrad program and in the master's program. And again, both of these places have given me an opportunity to address my passions. At Poway Unified, in the early 2000s, we were one of the first school districts to leap into the virtual world of education and begin to design virtual courses and allow our high school students to take them. Dr. Hayden was instrumental in helping us develop our rubric, which we align our courses to, and to help us set up our framework for it. In addition to Poway, I also then had the ability to use my skill set at Cal State San Marcos in the master's program in two certificate programs, the video production in K-12 and the supplemental authorization for computer concepts and application. I teach and have taught pretty much all of these courses, and I'm currently teaching the ED 637, and I just love teaching online. I know my students better, I feel a better connection to them, and it's just an environment for me that has been very successful. So that brings us to our relationship and what we're doing together.
Now that you've had an opportunity to get to know a little bit about me and my passion for virtual education, we're going to go ahead and jump into our textbook, Essential Elements, in this module, where we're going to be talking about how do we engage and create community within our virtual environment. Let's get started.
So, Module 3, building community, connecting with our students, and referencing how do we create an engaging environment for them to be successful in. Well, my wisdom to you is 3 elements, and I've posted them on this screen right here. Communicate, communicate, and communicate. But in addition to that, we have some resources available to us through Quality Online Learning and Teaching, the Quality Rubric, which is what we're going to be referencing. Not only are you going to read the Chapter 3 in our Essential Elements book, but you're also going to review the rubric, focusing in on sections 4 and 5. Now, section 4, I just want to take a minute and go through this. Section 4 is about the interaction and the online community. 4.1, this is where you're going to have evidence of activities that build the community. What are you doing in your course that allows your students to connect to each other and learn about each other? 4.2 is your course set up so it's easy to navigate and easy for your students to find things so they're not frustrated? That's probably one of the hardest things to really get a handle on, because it looks like it's going to work for you, but then when your students get in there and they start to struggle, you have to sometimes redesign. So recognize your course is never going to be perfect, and each semester you teach it, you're going to tweak it and move things and realign it, so it's kind of a moving target. 4.3 is about, do you have activities that enable students to interact with each other, peer reviews, collaborative projects, discussion forums, or do you just have one way? So you want to kind of make sure you have a variety in there. Module 4 is, well, like all good instruction, have you clearly articulated what you expect them to do and when you expect them to turn it in? Those, in my experience, have been the trip ups. I write something that I think is clear, and they don't know to ask deeper questions when it's not clear. So you want to communicate with your students and double check on those assignments that everybody's got what they need in order to be successful. And finally, 4.5 is going to be focusing on no busy work. Don't put activities into your course that don't truly focus on a learning outcome that's measurable and that you know is valuable. In online learning, it's kind of easy to fill it up with stuff, and so you want to make sure that what you're filling it up with is the target of your learning objectives. Now, in the 5-point section, we're focusing on the technology integration, and I just want to briefly reference a document that's out there, more so a model. It's called the SAMR, SAMR, Substitution, Adaptation, Modification, and Redefinition. If you're not familiar with that, I have a web link in our forum assignment for you to go and research that a little bit more. But it's about designing activities, instructional activities that really challenge students to use the technology for higher order thinking and not just replacing it was something that they could do offline. So 5.1 is making sure that the tools and the media that you use really support your learning. It's one thing to put a video in, but does that video really say or target what you're trying to get the students to understand? 5.2 is making sure that your students are using the tools to interact and the media to interact and engage with each other. 5.3, this acceptable formats, this can be a challenge. We've got iPads, we've got tablets, we've got Windows and Windows 8 and Macs. So the students are coming to you using a variety of different devices, and so you want to make sure you clearly define in your course what you can accept and what you encourage the students to do, and in essence the expectation. Otherwise they'll use the tools they're comfortable with, and that in some cases can eliminate the other students from interacting with them. So in this ever-changing technology world, that's something that's kind of a moving target. And then the last one, the 5.4, this is kind of about you. Are you using the tools out there that enable you to connect with your students? For example, this tool that I'm using right now, which allows me to capture my screen. So I've gone ahead and put a little tool tab over here, and I'm going to just talk real briefly about some of the tools of the trade that will help you integrate the technology or to design your course so that it's attractive and easy to follow. On the left side of my screen, editing your graphics and having a free graphic editor is important. I use PicMonkey.com. It's free, super fun, super easy to use. I like to put in a lot of banners and a lot of color. You know, I keep mine engaged by the appearance, and you'll notice the word tools up here is kind of funky. I made that with cooltext.com, another super easy plug and play type of thing. If you're going to be doing presentations, kind of step it up a little bit. Don't use the traditional ones. And I found this website where you can get kind of non-traditional, like the one I'm using here. On the right side here, csbits.com is a little tool that I had a student make about 5 years ago that allows you to edit HTML code on the fly. It's a web-based, it's in the cloud. And some of you that have the experience to do that will find this tool really handy. And then finally, what I'm using to capture this particular instance is called a screen capture, and the tool I'm using is Screenomatic, and it's again a free tool. If you pay a yearly subscription, you get a little bit more space and editing features and some advantages that I find worth it. And now the last tool, the Avatar Creator, I stuck in 2 avatars into this presentation to show you how you can mash up some of these other tools to, again, just make your presentations and your lectures a little more engaging for your students. So on that note, I hope that this has been helpful to you, and I look forward to your forum posts on what you find to be the important tools from Section 4 and Section 5. That'll be due by Friday, so take a quick peek at that, and we'll see you online.